Hi guys, can you believe it's day 12 of Savor at Home? Today we are trying a rye. We're actually going with Rittenhouse straight rye whiskey. It is bottled in bond. I'll touch on that in a little bit. Yeah, so this is another bottle where you can get a lot from the label. So we've gone over what straight means as it refers to American whiskeys. It means it's distilled at less than 80% ABV from one distillery, and then it is aged in new char oak barrels for at least 2 years. But we haven't touched on ryes yet, I don't believe. Now, rye is just similar to bourbon, where a majority of the mash must be made up of rye. So 51% or more of this must be at least rye. And for Rittenhouse in particular, it is actually 51% exactly, is how much rye goes into the mash. The remainder is corn, around 31% corn, and around 12% malted barley. Now that's how we get straight rye whiskey, but bottled in bond, that's something new. And bottled in bond actually came into place in 1987. It was the Bottled in Bond Act, was a tax incentive to promote people to make, in the US, to promote distillers to make better whiskey. The Bottled in Bond Act, in order for it to say bottled in bond, it must be from one distillation season, by one distillery, by one distiller, and then aged in federally bonded warehouses for at least 4 years. It also must be bottled at least 50 or more percent ABV or 100 proof, which is why this is exactly 100 proof. And up until the 1980s, the Treasury Department agents actually were the ones who had the keys to these federally bonded warehouses, and they were the ones that, you know, let you into your warehouse. But yeah, so this Rittenhouse is currently produced by Heaven Hill. Heaven Hill Distillery bought the rights to Rittenhouse in the 1990s, I believe. And previously it was produced by Continental Distillery or Distilling Company in Philadelphia. And they were the ones who first released a 2-year-old rye the year after Prohibition ended. So 1934, 2-year-old rye. Prohibition was only over for a year, so pretty interesting there. And another interesting fact about rye is that George Washington had a rye distillery. Another fun fact about this rye in particular is that this bottle is like 20 or 25 bucks. So it's nice and cheap. So with ryes, typically what you're looking for in the nose and in the palate is a lot of spice, a lot of pepperiness. There's a lot more of a kick or a spiciness to ryes. So this does not have an age statement on it, but as I went through all the different definitions of bottled in bond, it means it's at least 4 years old. And you can tell by the color, it's got some rich color to it as well. So who knows, this is probably around 4 years old. I feel like I always say pickle in the nose, but I'm getting some pickles. There's some carameliness in here as well. A lot of pickle. And there's this specific spice that we used to always put on cucumbers growing up, called spike, and I have no idea what's in it, but I'm picking up a lot of that. So a little bit, again, a little bit of like a pickliness, but with some fun savory spices as well. Maybe a little bubblegum action in there too, but all right, let's go ahead and taste it. There's a lot of salted caramel and butterscotch with a huge kick of peppercorns in there. There's a little bit of that pickliness that I was really picking up in the nose. But it's a tasty bottle of whiskey. It's a tasty rye, especially for 25 bucks. And for 50% ABV, 100 proof, it does not, you know, burn going down at all. It's pretty smooth, pretty, yeah, pretty delicious. So I'd recommend picking up a bottle, of course. Thanks, guys.